Lance and Jasper, broadcasting live. Shout out to Gator Pete, Stink, Tommy Gunn, helping me get the games. All the swag. 423-509-7007. This is Ron in Oakland. You're live with Lance and Jasper.
Hey, how's it going, Lance?
Doing great. How they doing out there in Cali with them Gator fans?
Man, just trying to. We got some bad air today from the fires, but other than that, it's been nice and cool, 70 degrees. Was just thinking, man. Looking at the Knowles. I'm looking at their information here on 247, and I always try to keep up with my rivals. And you have that argument with Florida fans: who's the bigger rival, Georgia or Florida State?
Yeah.
And I always say, Georgia is a championship rival. If you want to get to the championship game, you have to beat Georgia. And then you have the in-state rival playing Florida State for recruiting. So if you want to win the recruits to beat Georgia, you need to beat Florida State. So in order to beat Florida State and Georgia, you got to be able to be a championship caliber program. So we really have to say that they're both equal. It's like there's no greater than the other. It's like it's a must. You have to beat Georgia and Florida State. For me, I hate them both equally. It's like there's no greater rivalry for me. It's like they're both the same to me. It's like in order for Florida to be great, we have to beat Georgia and Florida State in the same year. So Lance, I'm hyped about the season. How about you, man?
I feel good about this season. I think a lot of people are spending too much time looking at our record from last year and ain't spending enough time looking at the talent and especially the experience this team has. Our junior and senior class have been to Atlanta twice, and you add a real head coach, a true leader, a proven leader like Dan Mullen in the mix, and there's no doubt in my mind with the staff continuity that he brought with him from Mississippi State that the Gators can win this year. A lot of Gator fans act like that's unrealistic, but to me, you don't know this damn team. You're listening to too much Fonbaum, too many Barnharts, too many media outlets. Listen to it right here, man, because I know this team.
And Lance, you make a great point, and this is what we're going to see, Lance. Everyone's worried about the offense, and what I look at the offense is I see a lot of opportunities for a creative coach who can adapt to the players' abilities, like Dan Mullen has proven since the offensive coordinator at Bowling Green in Utah and the Florida and the head coach at Mississippi State, that he can adapt to the quarterback and what they do well, what the players do well. And when you look at the tight ends now, we have young athletic tight ends coming in that have benefited from the strength and conditioning program. We have Keontae Lewis, I think, that has been molded into thinking differently on how to approach the game catching-wise. He's a phenomenal athlete, but we have to get him in position to be successful. And now we have this young guy transfer, Kroll, 6'6", 255 pounds, A1 athlete. He played baseball. He's got it all, and he has to adapt to the game. And I expect him to be ready by the time we get to LSU or so. He's going to be about physically ready to really make an impact in the game. So we have a lot of layers of depth. And you talk about our running backs, where we could go with Malik Davis and Scarlett. Then you have, I believe, the boy from Georgia, the true freshman. I think he's going to be a dark horse for making great explosive plays for us. And then you look at the wide receivers. Now that we have Grimes and Jefferson, you've been talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. We're hyped about that because now that gives us a legitimate wide-out set. Now you can't just focus on Tyree Cleveland. Now Tyree Cleveland has been able to improve himself with the competition, having better players around himself with better habits. And now you got Kadarius Toney also that could go into the slot area and do multiple things like maybe a Percy Harvey. We've seen him get bigger and stronger. If he could hold up in his endurance, we got something for a case. So we could match a 3 tight end set with 2 running backs and a flanker out. We got all kind of depth that we could pull out.
Where'd you get that swag, man? Yeah, I mean, those are excuse Damn, great points. Let me stop you at tight end. How do you feel about Keymore Gamble? Because I think he's going to step up before Lucas Kroll. I know you said Lucas Kroll come on about halfway through the season, but I really like Keymore Gamble a lot. And we had another guy in the recruiting. My mind's going blank right now. I want to say Keon Zipper, but he might be in the 19. But these guys can play immediately, man. I like Keymore Gamble a lot. He's been standing after practice with Emory Jones working hard. Nobody trusts Coach Smack, but he did say Keymore Gamble had the best hands on the team last year. That's saying a lot because our wide receivers were supposed to be legit last year, but when you take away the injuries and suspensions, we just didn't have the depth. But you are exactly correct. And you didn't mention Jacob Copeland. Can you tell me anything about Jacob Copeland?
Well, Jacob Copeland, from what I've been reading from insiders who's been able to see the practices, he's been limited with a little nagging, I wouldn't say injury, but it's just a little problem. He's just getting his body, that's to be expected with the kids that didn't come in early. Sometimes they're going to, they haven't gone through the off-season program, so they're going to struggle physically to adapt to the intensity of the practices early on until their body is ready. So they may struggle the first year completely, or it just depends. So I don't have a lot of expectations for them early on because due to the new 4-game rules now that we can push it out, we don't have to it's not urgent anymore for these young rookies to get involved as early. So I see that he's recovering physically, and so as soon as he's able to adjust, I expect him to be able to play early. He's greatest slot addition.
I think the tight end I'm saying about it's not Keon Zipper. He's a 19 recruit. Kyle Pitts and Keymore Gamble. I would expect him to play before Lucas Kroll. I like Kroll's size. He could be a red zone threat, but I wouldn't expect him to play.
I think Lang is going to play too. Okay. I think Lang, he was the early enrollee, and he's a physical phenom.
I don't see how
I think they're all going to play, honestly, Lance. Well, I think you're right. I think they're all going to play, and I think it's going to be deadly. I mean, when it gets late to the season and all these guys are ready to play, and we got 4 players, and if they're all healthy, that's a lot of options that Dan Mullen's going to have that you could put Kroll on the outside, and you could put Pitts on the other outside. You could put these boys on the outside against these cornerbacks, Lance. It's a nightmare.
You could. But here's the deal. I just don't see Florida doing a lot of double tight end sets. I see 4 wide sets. When you got Cleveland, Grimes, Jefferson, Tony, and Jacob Copeland, who I expect to play early. A lot of people don't. But I think Jacob Copeland's better than Kadarius Toney right now. I think Jacob Copeland, the best wide receiver on our team. You may not see it in stats this year, but when this kid leaves the school, they won't be looking for the next Percy. They'll be looking for the next Jacob Copeland. Mark them words, son. This guy.
Okay, I definitely agree with that.
One thing I love about Jacob Copeland is his flexibility. Wildcat. He can line up inside, outside. Same thing with Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson played slot.
Oh, he's a stud. And I can't wait till he's physically ready to really, really get ready. Right now, he just got something nagging, and until he goes through the all-season program and these little injury nuances that happen to all our wide receivers. Remember how during the McElwain years, our receivers were never healthy. That's what happens.
That's what really hurt us last year against LSU and A&M. No Tyree Cleveland. To me, that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, and have you noticed, Lance, the last 3 years of football, the further away we got away from Muschamp's players, the less Muschamp players there were, the weaker the team looked.
You can't bring that on the Lance and Jasper show. I ain't buying that because here's the deal. If you give me Antonio Callaway and Jordan Scarlett, we don't have 10 suspensions, we win the East last year. Put it on the players, man. They got to be accountable at some point. Now, I will say they didn't have no coaching for the players we did have, but at some point, these players got to be accountable. We're talking about back-to-back.
The players do have to be accountable, but we're talking
about back-to-back 10-win seasons. We're talking about 2 trips to Atlanta, and then you have a 4-7 season. I mean, you got to make good decisions. I mean, the players really put this team behind
beaten on the field. This was the first year. Year 3 was McElwain kids, though. They got physically beat down. 2015, 2016 were a lot of Muschamp players on those rosters.
I don't give a fuck who it was.
2017 was.
You still got to coach them up.
All McElwain, baby. It was all McElwain except for a couple players.
All right.
Javon
So let me
Bryan
ask you
and
this.
Dawson.
That's what I was hoping you'd say that. So let me ask you this. Dan Mullen wins the East this year. Are you going to say it was because of McElwain's players? Hell no. But everybody wants to say
No, what I'm saying,
no.
those are his
well,
players.
You can't say it for you can't say that it's Muschamp players when McElwain has success.
But Lance, you know why I'm saying that? Do you know why I'm saying that? I'm going to explain to you exactly why I'm saying so you understand what I'm saying.
Everybody hates McElwain and everybody wanted him out of town. I agree with you.
No. I think we have underrated talent on this team, but when I say McElwain players, those are his players under his coaching staff, under his strength and conditioning program, who never saw Muschamp's strength and conditioning program. They only probably worked out with the older players when they had to. And so when they were under that system, what I'm saying is that Nick Savage is probably going to be the best recruiter for the Florida Gators, because when they see the transformation, it's the most important coach in the college football program is the strength and conditioning program, because he's spending more time with the players than anything. And that's where the accountability comes. That's where the responsibility. That's where you keep players out of trouble. That's everything in a mental challenge. That's where you keep your players from turning the ball over during the regular season, because you got that mental toughness. That's where you're forcing turnovers, because you have that mental toughness. Mental toughness is 90% of the game is mental. So that's where the training has to be. It's the training, baby. You have to train to be Batman. Batman just didn't become Batman overnight. He was Bruce Wayne. He had to learn to become Batman. You know what I'm saying? If we want to be champions, we're going to have to learn how to be champions.
I love your passion, man, and you were 100% correct, man. Dan Mullen's taking a lot of what he learned from Urban Meyer as far as putting special teams first, making them players feel special.
I love it.
And again, everybody knows the most important hire you'll ever make as a head coach is your strength and conditioning, and that's what I'm talking about. The continuity and the coaching staff. This team can take off fast because there's talent there, man. But tell me about the quarterback.
I think we're going to go into Georgia undefeated, and that game is going to tell all. I think we can go into Georgia undefeated. This team is capable.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay, we will. This is a 12-0 season.
All right, I'm going to ride that van. I'm going to ride that van with you. We can and we will.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem now. A lot of coaches are out there telling about we are, and we're still saying we will. I mean, they don't want to hear
we will. They
want to hear we are, baby. Well, the schedule's 12-0. Only game to talk about, to me, is Georgia and Florida State. And when you look at the rosters of Georgia and Florida State, they've lost their defense. And to me, defense still matters, man. You can't win without defense. Our defense...
Right, we didn't even have to discuss defense, because I already know I'm expecting mayhem. Because, Todd Graham, he did something at Mississippi State, and I think he has more to work with overall than he's ever had, in college football. And I think you're going to see a defense that's going to get the offense in big play situations where we're not going to be effing up the plays when we're first and 10 on the 25 and we're out of field goal range. That's what we had going on in the last couple of years. And it's going to be the opportunities of special teams, Lance. I'm agreeing with you 100%.
Yeah, a lot of people sleeping on our defense, but what they don't realize about our defense last year was not only the offense terrible, but a lot of kids were asked to play that weren't ready to play. And for that reason, they're going to be better for it this year. When you start talking about C.J. Henderson, Marco Wilson, Sean Davis, I mean, these guys are going to be benefited from it. They're in a secondary in the nation that can touch the pick six click. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, our defense will give up, I'm going to say 17 points a game this year.
Our linebacker crew was hit hard by the suspensions too, and James Houston and Miller. Those. I hope these kids can contribute because I believe that the middle linebacker position. I heard about David Reese Jr. Let's call him Junior.
Baby Reese. We call him Baby Reese.
Baby Reese, okay, Baby Reese. He's already looking like a grown-ass man, It's like, I'm looking at these kids, I'm like, man, it's going to be fun, because I kept looking at our kids the last couple of years. I'm like, man, you all should be getting bigger than this. And now they're starting to look it, and that defense and the special teams, the competition to making special teams important is when you start seeing starters out on the special teams. That's when you have a winning recipe. That's going to be, and that's what we had during the Meyer years. A lot of starters on special teams playing relentless effort. You know, that's the thing, the relentless effort. And Lance, and what you say about Georgia and Florida State, let's look at this. We have on our schedule, we have Kentucky at home. Then we go on the road against Jeremy Pruitt running his first-time program in Tennessee on the road. And I feel like our running game and defense should be able to hold us in that game. Then we go to where we got Vanderbilt at home, I think, next.
You go to Starkville when you leave Tennessee.
Yeah, okay, we're going to Starkville. Okay, now Moorhead is a great coordinator and he's a pretty good recruiter. And what he's going to do is he's going to change that culture into a more Big Ten atmosphere. So knowing that Mullen already knows the players and he already knows their tendencies, and I think we're going to win that game.
Here's the difference in the Mississippi State game. The strength of their team is their defensive line. Everybody knows a great play caller can neutralize a defensive front. You can take advantage of their aggressiveness. You can really get them all set. Dan Mullen's play calling will be the difference in that game. I mean, you can talk about the road environment and think about it like this, man. Mississippi State downgraded that coach. Every position on coach, man. Bob Shoop ain't no defense coordinator. That defense is going to miss Todd Grantham. And Nick Fitzgerald, you tell me, man, you seen the 09 season. If Tim Tebow took a step back without Dan Mullen, you better believe Nick Fitzgerald's fixing to take a step back. And here's the problem with Joe Moorhead. He wants to turn this into a pass-happy offense. Man, you just don't teach a kid how to pass overnight. You even got it or you don't. Nick Fitzgerald's a runner, and when you try to make him a passer and you take away his natural instinct, you're going to handcuff the kid. And Mississippi State is a 6-6 football team.
And the biggest problem, Lance, is their big time. I think it was Malik Heath, I believe. Their wide receivers were not academically eligible to come in to, help out. So they're lacking at the wideouts there, and their running game. Dan Mullen was winning those games with players that
couldn't start at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people underrate that. A lot of people are underrating how difficult a job he's been winning there so long that people forgot how crappy a job Mississippi State is, and they're just downgrading. Right. And some people will say that he hasn't won in the top 10 recruiting classes. Like, do you know what Mississippi State is? Do you know what it represents? I mean, it's the garbage. Come on now. They're just lucky to be in the SEC.
Cowbells and fat girls don't sell, son. Come on down to the Sunshine State. We got what you need.
And talk about Mississippi. What about DeJuan Black? Wasn't that great? Landing him.
I haven't heard from a Mississippi State fan since. Every day I got a tweet. Dan Mullen's a lazy recruiter. I ain't got one of those since he signed. They all faded away. I mean, I knew they were going to fade away after September, but I wasn't expecting it after July, man.
We're going to look at, I look back at Urban Meyer. See, the problem with a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of our recruiting goes by, like we said, Florida State.
If you want to know why Urban Meyer was successful, go back and look at his damn coaching staff. That's all you need to know. That's
coaching staff was elite. Yeah, and that's one thing. See, Dan Mullen did not sacrifice his coaching staff for 1-year relationships. That's what he did not do. He did not sacrifice his staff for 1-year relationships. He's going to do the best. He's going to go to the best players. And you look at it, everybody that's left on our list are highly rated players. You could trust his evaluations because he's been doing it. So everybody that's left on this list, there's still enough talent out there to sign a top 10 class. So I'm not worried about that. All I'm saying is that Nick Savage is going to show the results on the field, and he's going to be the reason why people are going to buy into Dan Mullen this early. But already, our 2020 class is already ranked number 8, ahead of Florida State at number 9. So, we're already up there right now.
I'm not a ranking kind of guy. I mean, they do matter for bragging rights, but here's the deal, man. A lot of our best players have been 3 stars. Antonio Callaway was not even in the ESPN 300. Nobody would have.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, you think about David Reese, a junior linebacker, 102 tackles in 11 games. Those are sick numbers. A 3-star. Look at Marco Wilson and C.J. Henderson's ranking coming out. They weren't expected to be much. I mean, everybody knew about Marco because of his brother. But, dude, we're talking about you probably had 10, 15 corners ranked ahead of them guys. But you come into this year, everybody's saying they're the number 1 corner combo in America. So it's one thing to have the rankings in the number 1 class, but at the end of the day, the Florida Gators have outplayed their ranking. And that's what people don't understand. They went out like Georgia's out-recruited us, maybe on paper, but they ain't done it on the field because Florida's outproduced their damn rankings. And a lot of Georgia players, they ain't even been on the field to prove themselves.
Kirby Smart still has to prove that he can do it. These kids, they're his kids now. He graduated 31 seniors off that team. That was a lot of leadership. That was a lot of players that was tired of being sorry. They were Mark Richt kids that knew what it meant to, they saw the 2012 team. So they wanted to get there. So now it's all about, is Georgia expecting to be there, or are they going to fight to be there? Because now they're going to be the hunted one. They're no longer going to be the one chasing the stick. They're the one that got to carry the stick with them. And everybody trying to get a piece of that stick. So they got to play South Carolina week 2 of the season on the road. That game, that's all the South Carolina is preparing for right now, is week 2. They're ready for that game. Georgia better be ready for that game too. Because one thing about Muschamp, he'll be ready early on, but his team will be banged up by November.
Right. Yeah, he ain't got the depth. He ain't got the depth to go all the way to November. You're right about that. But
but the second week against Georgia at home, that's a dangerous game to be playing. And I'm looking at Fromm like, you better make sure you got your focus, and you better be hungry, because every year is a different year. You can't go off of what you did last year and think it's going to work.
Breaking news right here on Lance and Jasper Show. Justin Fields will come in the second half of that South Carolina game, win the game, and Jake Fromm will not see the field for the rest of the season in the 2018 season. You can write that down, son, because as good as Muschamp's defense is, there ain't a defense for Justin Fields. He can make those kind of plays, and I think he'll be able to get them through that game. He'll win the team over. Jake Fromm's on the bench. Georgia fans don't want to hear it, but that's the truth.
Justin Fields should be a Florida Gator, but it's a sad thing that he isn't. But let's look at.
You can thank Jim McElwain for that.
Yeah, that was the ultimate. Like, he should have been fired right then and there. Like, really? You took Matt Corral over this guy? Really? And I don't even know if Georgia is going to have the system for him. Sam Pittman has no record of running a kind of system that make Justin Fields more successful at an elite rate. I mean, they have some talent there, but one thing I like about our team against their defense is that we got Grimes at 6'5", Kroll at 6'6", Pitts at 6'5", Jefferson 6'2", Cleveland at 6'2". We got some height and speed and some jump ball ability. So that's the weapon you need against a good defense.
Well, their defense is unproven. They lost 7 starters on defense. I mean, this is
a new year for everybody, baby.
They're replacing their whole front 7 besides Jonathan Ledbetter. They're replacing 4 new linebackers. They lost all 4 starters at linebacker. Their secondary was suspect anyway. It cost them a national championship. I'll give you J.R. Smith and DeAndre Baker, but that's just 2 guys. We got 5 wide. You can't cover them all, and you damn sure can't double them all. And we ain't even got to the element of the quarterback run yet. And our running back room is deeper than Georgia, and it's more talented. I don't want to hear about the rankings of the number 1 running back in America come out. He tore his damn ACL. You don't know if he'll be the same again. And you want to talk about Dalvin Cook's brother? Yeah, that's his brother. It ain't Dalvin Cook's son. Can he pass block? We don't know. He might not see the downfield. Because if you can't protect the quarterback, you can't play.
I wonder why we haven't seen Elijah Holyfield yet.
Because you don't run with your arms. Because you don't run with your arms. You run with your legs, and that motherfucker's all arms.
Good shit. Okay.
I mean, it's straight up. He's gator bait, man. He got toothpick legs, man. You seen the type. You seen them bodybuilders out there in California. You know what I'm talking about, Ron. You know what I'm talking about.
You know
what I'm talking about.
Hey,